Coming up on Bloom, foods, ingredients, and chemicals outlawed worldwide that are legal in America.
That we have over 10,000 chemical additives in our foods right now. And we say over because when I was researching, there's not even an exact number. They don't even know exactly how many chemicals are in our food right now.
Plus later, a charity making a sustainable impact on tequila. And the Today Show's Joy Bauer is bringing on the fiesta with Cinco de Mayo delight. We'll have all that and more as Bloom, presented by Lifeguard Imaging, starts now. I'm Gayle Guyardo. Welcome to Bloom, presented by Lifeguard Imaging. There are so many foods and ingredients banned in other countries, but considered okay in America. From food dyes to certain vegetable oils, popular sodas, and cereals, the list goes on and on about what you can eat here in the United States, but these very same foods and ingredients are banned in many places overseas. But why? Joining me now to reveal just some of the dangerous foods we're eating is holistic functional doctor and the best-selling author of You Can't Outrun Your Fork, Dr. Anya Zaghetti. It is so great to see you, Dr. Anya.
Hi, Gayle. Great to be here again. Thank you.
So I wanted to talk about this. You know, we took our daughters overseas, and we like to get, stay in like an Airbnb so we can be together. We went grocery shopping, and we went to market so we could do family time together. And so much of what we have access to here in the United States, you don't have access to in Europe.
Correct. There are so many products that we regularly consume here that's not available there, and if they are, it's a completely different version of the product.
Now, why is that?
Well, one thing is that the FDA oversees the foods here in America, and I say oversee loosely because they actually aren't even testing the products or the chemicals that are in the foods. They're relying on the food industry and their clinical experts to tell the FDA that they're actually generally recognized as safe products for our consumption. And the scary thing with that is that we have over 10,000 chemical additives in our foods right now. And we say over because when I was researching, there's not even an exact number. They don't even know exactly how many chemicals are in our food right now.
Now, the result of that is that many people are sick. They're overweight, they're tired, they're sluggish. Now, the chemicals in the foods that we eat are being linked to mental disorders, from autism to anxiety, depression. I mean, the list goes on and on.
Yes. In the UK, if a product has a synthetic food dye, it requires a warning label for the parents because there is a correlative link with synthetic food dyes and hyperactivity and behavioral issues in children.
All right, so you've brought some props, just some of the things that we can easily grab in this country that you would never see on store shelves overseas.
Yes, Gayle, and it's actually scarily easy to find all these. I ran in and out of the store and just grabbed some that had a few of the ingredients that I was looking for, and I found them easily, unfortunately. And my husband was actually over in Europe when I was shopping for these, and he couldn't find these products. He found one, but it looks completely different color because they don't use the synthetic food dyes over there.
Okay, very interesting. So what do consumers need to be aware of?
So there's, like I said, there's over 10,000 different chemicals. There are a couple that are on these products. As we mentioned before, the synthetic food dyes are definitely a concern. So that would look like red number 40, blue number whatever, yellow number whatever. Those are all synthetic food dyes that are made from petroleum. And so just think about drinking gasoline from your car. That's what they're made from. And those are in most of these products here. And those are tied with, again, the behavioral issues in children, potential genetic concerns, cancer concerns, digestive concerns with the food dyes. Another one is brominated vegetable oil. And so bromine itself is used as a flame retardant. And bromine actually competes with iodine. And so we already, you've shared and I've shared that we have thyroid issues, and the thyroid needs iodine to work properly. And if we consume something like these two items here, both have this brominated vegetable oil, it's going to compete with the iodine for our thyroid. It also has been linked with central nervous system issues. So that's our brain and our spinal cord. And so people have loss of balance, loss of the ability to talk. They have major issues tied in with that, loss of coordination. People have actually been on continuous dialysis after consuming brominated vegetable oils in the food products as well.
Wow. Okay, so those are the 3 internationally outlawed ingredients, and there's one more.
And genetically modified organisms
Okay.
as well. So that's genetically modified or bioengineered. So some of these will say bioengineered food products.
Okay.
And so that's actually made in a factory, those ingredients. And the food itself is grown to yield a higher crop and potentially resistant to different types of bugs. But the problem with that is that they're using a lot of those pesticides, and then that's going to be on the food anyway, and it's going to get into our system.
Yeah.
And that's going to negatively affect our gut health. And then the modifications have been linked to concerns with genetic modifications, DNA damage in our cells as well.
Yeah, because you can't wash those chemicals off if they're growing from within the seed and into your foods. What are 3 ways that you recommend to reduce the exposure?
Yeah, so first read the label. Flip the package over and actually look at the ingredients label. And I recommend not consuming something that has more than 5 ingredients.
That has about like 55.
So you can see all these labels
Yeah.
here. That has a laundry list of ingredients. So I wouldn't recommend to consume anything over than 5. And then if you don't understand what a product is, actually research it, but do due diligence and actually dig and figure out what that ingredient is and what the health risks are, and if you feel comfortable with that. But again, my recommendation is keep it simple. Go back to nature. So that's why I brought a piece of corn here.
I was just about to ask you about the lonely ear of corn.
The lonely
listening
ear
in.
of corn. This is what nature made. This is what factories made. So just to keep it simple, eat as much as you can from what nature made and as little as from the factory. And that's my highest recommendation. I've been on this show and several others showing how easy and simple it is to make healthy, delicious foods, and then you have control over the ingredients, and then you have control over your health and your loved one's health as well.
If you're going to put butter on this corn, use real butter.
Yes, don't use margarine,
Yeah.
please.
All right. We're going to share Dr. Anya's advice on BloomTampaBay.com, and you'll see her later for an extended conversation coming up on Bloom. But up next, the longevity dietitian and gut health nutritionist Ella DeVar is joining us with what chemicals in our foods are doing to our guts. We'll be right back. You're watching Bloom, presented by Lifeguard Imaging, saving lives through early detection. Call now 813-582-5222 to schedule your scan today. Welcome back to Bloom. There are some food and chemicals outlawed worldwide, but legal in America. Joining me now with some dangerous chemicals to be on the lookout for is longevity dietitian and gut health nutritionist Ella DeVar. Ella, it's so great to see you.
Thank you for having me, Gayle.
So I know that your focus is on the gut, and a lot of the reasons that other places in the world outlaw chemicals in certain foods and how they're manufactured is because they wreak havoc on our guts.
It accumulates over the time. So there's a long list of chemicals and food additives that are legal in the United States, but are not legal in Europe, because FDA in America is more of a precautionary, versus in Europe, they have a more of a proactive approach. So here in America, over 10,000 chemicals and preservatives that are allowed in our food, and they're called generally recognized as safe. Yes, they're used in small amounts. However, they have not been evaluated in decades. And some of these chemicals are banned in Europe as of the last few years because of the recent scientific evidence that points to them as possible carcinogens.
Okay, so you brought up the U.S. government and what we examine. Let's take a look, because if you look at the list between the U.S. and Europe, even on allergens alone, these are the FDA's 8 requirements.
The most common allergens that are required to be listed on the label for consumers to recognize. However, I think we could do better. In Europe, the European Food Safety Administration requires 14 common allergens to be listed, and these are just food allergens. And what's even worse than that are preservatives and chemicals that are added. Some of them is titanium dioxide and the brominate and brominated vegetable oils and trans fat oils that are actually banned in Europe, in Switzerland and Austria, and they're very, they're almost in every processed packaged product in the United States.
And so what is this doing to our overall health?
Well, it accumulates over the years. It creates burden on our liver and our gut health to be able to detoxify all those things. So, and the research points how some of these things can accumulate over years and create potential cancer-causing symptoms. It also leads to destruction of mucus lining of our gut, and that could lead to allergy developments and skin issues and even neurological symptoms.
Yeah, it's really interesting because sometimes we'll travel and it's like you go to reach for this kind of creamer, it doesn't exist. You go to reach for this kind of sugar alternative, it doesn't exist. I mean, things just don't exist there that you can easily
It's funny
find
that
here.
you mentioned creamer, because one of the most common creamer that we use in America is actually banned in Europe because of the partially hydrogenated and brominated vegetable oils that are added there, and that's why you can't find them in Europe.
And what about some of the food colorings? Like I know when we were with my kids, I think one of them had a hankering for some Skittles. No Skittles to be found.
Well, this is the worst. And actually, researchers from UCLA published an article that linking some of the coloring agents, specifically red 40, yellow 6, and the blue ones, to neurological and developmental issues in children that could lead to attention deficit disorder and hyperactivity. And that's why they're all banned in Europe.
Yeah, there's actually a really popular Netflix documentary streaming right now that's shedding a light, like we've been trying to do for years now, about the link between our gut health and our mental health. And it's definitely, connected.
Yeah, so I've been saying this for years as a gut health expert. Avoid everything that's not created by nature, because you're basically putting a huge burden on your system, on your immune system, to metabolize, to detoxify all those chemicals that are not created by nature and they don't belong in your body. And that's the easiest way to think of whether you should or should not be eating. If it's not made by farm or by nature, you should be avoiding it at all costs. Yes, you can have it once in a while as a treat because it's ubiquitous, it's everywhere we go these days, but at least in your house, don't bring anything that has all these chemicals added, and this way I think you'll be safer.
All right, Ella, thank you so much. I always enjoy our conversations.
Thank you for having me.
And we're going to share Ella's advice on BloomTampaBay.com, and good news, Ella is sticking around. We're heading into the Bloom kitchen to make omega-3 sandwiches. We'll be right back. You're watching Bloom, presented by Lifeguard Imaging, saving lives through early detection. Call now 813-582-5222 to schedule your scan today. Welcome back. While there are many foods and ingredients outlawed in other parts of the country that are perfectly fine to eat here in the U.S., it's easy to circumvent those dangerous foods and make yummy ones instead. Longevity dietitian and gut health nutritionist Ella DeVar is joining us with a great recipe right out of the pages of her book, Cooking for High Performers. Ella, thank you so much. And this is just another example of how eating overseas can be healthier than eating here in the U.S. But if we try, we can do it too.
Absolutely. I'm here to break out the myth of all canned food is bad. You know how we talk about ultra processed food, the packaged food, and the canned food sometimes goes along with that. But in reality, American canned food, the one that has a ton of ingredients and a long shelf life, that's not the case in Europe. European canned food is actually used in restaurants to serve as an appetizer, and a lot of people use it at home, including myself, to make a quick and easy lunch. And that's what I wanted to show you today, that specifically seafood, canned seafood in Portugal and Spain is used to create a healthy meal. And today I'm going to show you how to make the sandwich out of sardines and mackerel. I hope you like those. Anchovies is definitely an option, but not for the sandwich. This is actually a great alternative to tuna salads. It's basically the same thing, but we're using canned seafood.
And did you have to special order this? Or
no, you can get it in Whole Foods. You can get it in any supermarket or Amazon delivery. And what's great about it comes straight from Europe, so it's high quality. And the reason I love using small fatty fish, they're low in mercury and they're high in proteins and omega-3 fatty acids. Omega-3 fatty acids help your brain to function better, and they're high in protein, which helps to balance out your hormones without spiking your blood sugar. You're doing the right thing by breaking it
Okay, I was
apart.
hoping you would say that. I'm like, what if I'm not supposed to break it up?
No, we're making a salad out of it.
Okay, all right.
So the next ingredient that I'm going to use is basically anything you use for your tuna sandwich set.
Okay.
So I'm going to use a little bit of chopped celery,
All right.
as well as some carrots. I love adding some lemon juice, that you could squeeze out some lemon juice.
Okay.
Capers if you have them. Some greens. I love using parsley, cilantro, because they're all great for optimizing your gut health and lowering inflammation. And then here today, I'm going to use some scallions. Do you
I
like?
love scallions.
Me too. So you can use as much as you want. The good news with these, you don't have to use no salt and no olive oil, because we just dumped the entire can, and because these are straight from Europe, they use high quality olive oil that's grown locally in Spain. So this is the salad. And after we break it apart, we use a little bit of black pepper to create some. Sometimes I use capers, which also very salty, and add some flavor. I use a little bit of mayo, or you could use mustard. And then you grab a whole wheat toast, which is freshly baked. I went to the supermarket earlier this morning, and the key here is, when we're shopping for American high quality foods, is to shop around the perimeter of a supermarket. That's where we have freshly baked bread, which is not been stored in plastic for weeks. So this is the one that I got. And you can find some of the fresh produce in the perimeter of the supermarket. So this was the sandwich that we made, which is super easy. It took like 2 minutes, and I highly recommend my clients to grab these cans of sardines or mackerels. You could store them in your office pantry or in your house, and it's super easy. Look, it took less than 2 minutes to make this. I love using it also on a salad. You could use it as a topping to a salad, or you can add a little bit of green, serve it on the bed of arugula, which is a bitter green, helps to stimulate gut microbiome.
This is so good, and it's actually way better than tuna.
Thank you. It's a great alternative to tuna, because tuna is higher in mercury. I don't recommend my clients to eat those more than once a week. But this, because it's a smaller fish, it does not accumulate mercury as much, and it's higher in omega-3.
It's so good. So all we added to it was lemon juice, just a little dash of the mayo if you wanted to.
Yeah, or mustard is a great alternative. Yeah.
And then the carrots, the shallots.
Shallots or scallions.
Or scallions.
Yeah.
And then that's about it.
That's it. Celery or carrots, whatever you have in your house, basically.
And I love the trick about getting the specific canned fish from Europe.
Exactly, and it's so easy. You can store it in your office pantry or in your house, and make sure to grab it for lunch to create an optimally, nutritionally dense lunch sandwich.
Okay, I just want my executive producer Elizabeth and producer Sarah to know it's going to be smelling like fish in the Bloom office. Ella, thank you so much. These are great tips, and we really appreciate you.
I'm so glad you like it.
Yeah, and I know you're going to be coming up here soon. We're going to do a roundtable, answer some more questions about, how to circumvent all the bad foods that we have access to here in the U.S. and make better choices. We're going to share this story and recipe on BloomTampaBay.com. We'll be back with more Bloom right after this. Living the Tampa Bay lifestyle means enjoying the sand, sun, and outdoors fun. So get out, get active, and nurture those healthy habits. Hey there, I'm Gayle, host of Bloom. Now there's a new all-inclusive place with everything you need to shape your lifestyle, boost your health, and improve your wellness. BloomTampaBay.com, Tampa Bay's premier health and wellness website, made to help you feel good. Whether you're a fitness fanatic, beauty buff, or just want to take your first step towards positive change, this free website is for you. See the Bay Area's hottest fitness products, the latest workout crazes, and learn nutrition tips from the experts. Plus, discover local events and experiences designed with your well-being in mind. Cultivate a healthy mind, body, and soul. Check out BloomTampaBay.com, your local health and wellness website. That's BloomTampaBay.com. We're back talking about foods and ingredients outlawed in other parts of the world, but okay for us to eat in America. Joining us now is longevity dietitian and gut health expert Ella Devar and holistic functional doctor, Dr. Anya Zaghetti. Thank you guys for joining the roundtable today.
So good to be here.
Great to be here. Thank you, Gayle.
So first of all, I want to talk, and I'm kind of throwing this question out there, is that every single time I travel with my family abroad, even into South America, you can eat whatever you want to eat there and not gain a pound. And I know we do a lot more walking, but still we're eating more foods and things that I would never grant myself here in the United States, like bread.
I feel you on that. I moved to America and I gained a lot of weight, and I became a dietitian to figure it out on my own because I love food. I love eating good food, and why I still travel to Europe, and there I can overindulge and eat good food. But here in America, a lot of ingredients that are either added, like chemicals and additives, or even the produce here is genetically modified, and that builds up and that triggers some of the immune system from our gut, and that could cause some inflammation, especially when we're exposed to it chronically.
Yeah, and you both, I love having you both as guests because I know you travel extensively. Dr. Zaghetti, same holds true. You see that not only with yourself, but with the clients that you work with.
Yes, exactly, Gayle. Last summer, I spent some time in France, and I was able to enjoy croissants. And I haven't had a croissant here for I don't even know how many years. And I didn't pay the consequences at the other end with digestive issues like I would if I consumed the foods here. And I have patients that say the same thing to me all the time, where they'll go on vacation and they're able to indulge and enjoy the foods that they want in other countries. And if they were to eat the same foods here, they would be paying the price.
Yeah, and you just notice with the landscape in other parts of the country that, quite frankly, you don't see people with the weight issues that we see here in the United States. And I think it's unfair to a lot of Americans that they don't realize it's not their fault. It's what's added to the foods, like food colorings is a huge culprit.
It is. And actually, weight gain is just a visible symptom, but there's a lot of health issues, specifically in our gut, that could trigger autoimmune conditions or problems with hair and skin. And that's not necessarily as obvious, but it has a lot to do with the foods that we consume and here in America. And I recently treated a patient from Germany that moved to Florida, and we did a food sensitivity panel for her, and she came back allergic to partially hydrogenated vegetable oils, which she was not exposed to in Europe. And with that, I thought it was a good idea to bring up the vegetable oils because they destroy the mucous lining of gut, and that what causes some of the autoimmune conditions. And overall, after it triggers the gut, then it triggers allergic reactions to skin and autoimmune conditions.
It's one of the top things that you brought up at the top of the show, Dr. Anya.
Yes, the brominated vegetable oils, and those are definitely a major issue for gut dysfunction. And that rang true for myself, and why I became a holistic functional doctor was my own gut health issues initially. And I ate pretty much anything that was available to me, especially going through college. Definitely did not have the diet that I have today, and I know that caused a lot of gut issues for myself. And then further on, that is the pathogenesis for autoimmune disease, and I do have Hashimoto's thyroiditis, which is the autoimmune thyroid hypothyroidism, and that is very often triggered by breakdowns in our gut lining, which is due to a lot of these chemical additives that are in our food products.
Yeah, it's interesting because, and I shared this with both of you, that I don't have the extreme Hashimoto's, but I do suffer from hypothyroidism. And what was interesting, after going to doctor after doctor after doctor, it was the one doctor that changed all my dietary intake that made the most difference, because I was just getting over medicated. Every time the symptoms would get worse, another prescription would roll out. But really, I had to go back and reevaluate everything I was eating and not glucose. And then it was just interesting to me because he knew I was taking a trip, and he said, and listen, while you're over there, go ahead and eat the pasta and eat the bread. Enjoy it while you can. So even doctors here know that it is our foods making us sick.
Yes, and I'm glad you were able to find a practitioner that was able to dive deep and get to the root causes of your specific imbalances, because it is unique for each individual, and it's very often missed. Mine was misdiagnosed and missed for a decade and a half that I was suffering.
And I know this is a lot of why you both do, but most recently I went through a poop screening with you that we're going to be
Gut
talking
health
about.
test.
Gut health test. I know she doesn't want to use the poop part, but it did involve a little sampling there. And we're going to talk about it in an upcoming episode of Bloom. But you like to deep dive so you can get specific with what exactly each client needs.
Yes, and how we can improve the root cause, the gut health, microbiome. And in your case specifically, for other people who are watching, it's very important that we consume a right amount of fiber to help our body to detoxify some of those chemicals that we are exposed all day long, no matter how hard we try. So eating vegetables, the low-carb vegetables that I love recommending, arugula and radicchio, could really help our liver to detoxify and balance out our hormones.
And Dr. Anya, you wrote a whole book, You Can't Outrun Your Fork, about how no matter how much we exercise, all the things that we do on the outside, if you don't get a handle on your diet and what you're consuming and pay attention to these ingredients that we're consuming, you're just not going to be well.
Exactly, and to take it one step further, you can't out-supplement a bad diet either. So I have a lot of people that try to say, okay, well, I'm not going to change my diet. I'll just take all these supplements. I'll still work out, but take all the supplements, and that should fix it. And that's not the long-term solution at all. That can be a great assistance during, your healing journey, but the food needs to be the foundation, and keeping it simple, keeping it basic, back to foods from nature versus things in a package is the absolute best way to go.
I also like to add to that, support local farmers. If you want to get the best high quality food, know where your food comes from. Go talk to the farmers, look at their hands, look at their eyes, talk to them. How do they treat their food? What's the philosophy behind their brand if it's a company that, selling the food? Or the farmers that, how do they treat the vegetables? Do they use pesticides? Do they use organic produce? You'll be surprised. Local farmers, they can't even afford organic labeling, and that's what happened to me when I got into this industry. I started really talking to farmers, and they can inspire you a lot. They can inspire you to try new recipes. They can inspire you to really take charge on your health and to minimize exposure to chemicals in the production section.
We only have 30 seconds left. Dr. Anya, do you want to wrap it up with any advice for our viewers when it comes to what we eat?
Yes, unfortunately about 60 to 90% of the standard American diet is ultra-processed foods. And so that's foods with 5 or more ingredients, very far removed from the natural source. So like Ella was saying, I spent a lot of times actually visiting and staying on farms to understand where the food is coming from. So getting back to the nature sources and learning how to make quick, easy recipes at home is probably the best way to do it.
All right, thank you both so much. It's been a great conversation. We're going to share this conversation on BloomTampaBay.com. And up next, what a non-for-profit is doing to stop the waste from producing a popular alcoholic beverage, tequila. Bloom, we'll be right back. You're watching Bloom, presented by Lifeguard Imaging. We begin where your checkup ends. Call now, 813-582-5222 to schedule your scan today.
The following portion of Bloom is sponsored by Tequila Comos.
Welcome back to Bloom. Finding ways to be more sustainable and eco-friendly is important, especially for our future. Joining me now with how they are making a positive impact in tequila is Ria Soler, the Director of Education and Advocacy for Tequila Comos. Welcome.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to be here to talk to you about our project.
Well, this is so fascinating. So what are some of the ways that Tequila Comos drives their sustainability initiatives?
Yeah, well, first of all, what I would love to let you know is there is 15 pounds of agave fiber waste for 1 bottle of tequila.
Wow.
It's a lot of waste, right? And so we all love agave straws, agave products, but it's a lot of straws for 15 pounds, right? So we at Comos are trying to find large-scale solutions for this large-scale problem. And what we have done is we have started the Comos Foundation. Now this is a brick, right? But this is an adobe brick that has been made from the leftover agave waste, water, and fiber from the tequila production.
That is really incredible.
Yeah.
So how does it actually work?
Well, we mix the agave waste, the fiber, with dirt and the acidified water from distillation. That's it. It bakes in the sun. After it's baked for a couple days, it is cured, hard. I would love for you to pick this up.
Okay.
Try.
All
If you don't pick it up, I won't blame you. It's really heavy.
Okay, all right. I do lift weights.
Okay.
Okay, here we go. So it is really heavy. I mean, that is a really heavy. I would say, gosh, it feels like almost like a 20, maybe 25, 30 pound.
It's 30-pound brick. And
Okay.
I did that not to be mean, but to show you how durable these are, right? So once these are made, they will last for hundreds of years. So we build infrastructure in the city of Tequila. We're currently building a wing on the elementary school so that more kids can go to school. And we've got a women's shelter in the works.
What an incredible mission this is. And how timely, because tequila has taken off. I mean, more people are drinking tequila now than ever before.
Very true, very true. In fact, it surpassed vodka as the #1 consumed spirit in the U.S., which is staggering. That's because of Florida.
I'm sure it is.
I do have another project here to show you. These are lighter, so don't be scared. These are made of compressed agave fiber. This is with Green Loop, a producer that we work with in Mexico. And these are used for our shipping pallets instead of compressed fiber, particle wood, or wood. So we are reusing our agave in another way here.
That is incredible. So sustainable, and I think more consumers are looking for companies like Komos and missions and nonprofits like this, because this is what we want for our earth, and then the result is this incredible product.
Yes, of course. Well, not to be missed, of course, are our beautiful handmade porcelain bottles. You can see I've made some floral arrangements over here with them. I like to say that Komos is the gift that keeps giving, because first you get to drink absolutely exquisite tequila, then you get to reuse the bottle for florals, water, candles, what have you, and then of course with the Komos Foundation, which you can follow and volunteer with in Mexico, you get to give back to the community that we come from.
That's incredible. So how can we get involved?
Well, you can go to komos.com and you'll be able to click onto the Komos Fundacion. I hope you appreciated
I like that. That was impressive.
Thank you. I worked on it. And then all you can do there is just sign up and follow us to get alerts for volunteer opportunities and follow along with the projects that we're doing in Mexico.
I have to say, this is one of the coolest initiatives I've heard of in a really long time. And, on behalf of Mother Earth and all of us, thank you so much.
Oh, pleasure. Well, I do have one more very exciting thing to share with you.
Do tell.
At the end of this year, we are going to be the first tequila producer ever to be completely waste-free.
That's incredible.
Yes.
That is really, really big news. And when you think of the waste that comes from tequila, and I didn't realize how much it was, that is a huge leap forward. So thank you.
Oh, my absolute pleasure to be here, and I hope that you get to enjoy some Komos soon.
Me too. All right, you can visit komosfoundation.org to sign up to be notified for volunteer opportunities and stay up to date on their latest projects. Bloom will be right back.
The preceding portion of Bloom was sponsored by Tequila Komos.
Welcome back. It's time for this week's What the Health. And this week, we're bringing on the fiesta with the Today Show's nutrition, health, and lifestyle expert, Joy Bauer, who's sharing some Cinco de Mayo delights. Hey, Joy.
Hey, I love Cinco de Mayo. Obviously, it's a chance to sort of celebrate Mexican tradition and culture, the food, the fashion, the music. But Gayle, let's be serious. It also gives us a chance to create new ways to enjoy margaritas.
I love that. So what do you have on tap?
So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to make what I'm calling a margarita guacamole. So you could see, I've got my avocado here, but I also have a little bit of tequila. And really, when I show everybody how to make this, you can also leave the tequila out, and it just winds up to be this creamy, dreamy guacamole. This is my go-to guacamole recipe. And I love another reason to celebrate avocados because they are super rich in 3 heart-healthy nutrients. Potassium, which helps manage blood pressure. They also have a ton of fiber and something called monounsaturated fat, which is a type of fat that helps to increase the good cholesterol, HDL, and lower the bad cholesterol, LDL. So this guac comes with major benefits, truly.
So how do we put it together?
Okay, so we're starting with 3 avocados. So I cut the avocados, and the first 2 I'm going to throw into the bowl, and I mash them so they're nice and creamy. But I saved that third one because I like a little bit of texture in my guac, but people could mash the third one also, but I like to cube it, and then I just toss it in with the mashed avocados. Next, we have red onion, we have tomatoes. Those are, that was cilantro, and also I did a jalapeno in there, lime juice, a little bit of garlic, a little bit of cumin, and that last liquid was, of course, the tequila. I only put 2 tablespoons in, but it definitely brings the fun factor. Look at it. It's so rich and creamy. And just to sort of elevate the presentation, I love to put it in an oversized margarita glass. And you can salt the outside. You could dress it with a little lime wedge if you want, or I put in here a little chip. I'm actually going to give you. I'm going to give you a bite, Gayle.
I love
Here
that you
come.
left
Here
the chunks in there too. I'm excited about the chunks.
Yeah.
I love it. That looks amazing.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. And to
Yeah.
pair with the guacamole margarita, you also have a berry margarita mocktail on the menu.
Yeah. So I figured I spiked the guac, so I'm going to now make a mocktail just in case anybody is craving the delicious flavors of a margarita, yet they don't want any of those potential hangover blues afterwards. So this one, I'm kicking up the nutrition, and I'm making a blackberry margarita mocktail. So this is about a half a cup of blackberries. Blackberries, you could find huge blackberries right now in the store, but you can also use frozen blackberries and just thaw them. And now I'm going to add in a tablespoon of lime juice, and I'm going to muddle that so it's nice and vibrant purple, and all those juices are right in the glass. Then I'm adding in, this is a little bit of orange juice. This will be our sweetener, right? Loaded with vitamin C. And then last but not least, I'm adding in a berry flavored sparkling water. So I'm using, this is a black raspberry LaCroix, but any flavor will work. And then just to take it over the top, I like to add in what I'm calling blackberry ice cubes, but they're just frozen blackberries that I float in there. And I'm telling you, it really does bring all the fun without any of the booze.
That is absolutely brilliant. I love it. And both in the mocktail and in the guac, I mean, there's so many nutrients to enjoy to have the best Cinco de Mayo ever.
Yeah. So what's really interesting about this particular margarita, it comes with more than 3 grams of fiber per sip. So yeah, again, like a beverage with benefits. We had a guac with benefits. We got a bevy with benefits.
Where's the Netflix and the chill? All right, Joy. Thank you so much. Those are amazing recipes. And of course, you gotta watch Joy on social media. She's amazing. I sit there and scroll through with my mouth watering. We always post all of our recipes on bloomtampabay.com. And before we go to break, it's time for today's Bloom Trivia question. How many herbs fight inflammation and are part of a balanced diet? 5, 9, or 12? We'll have the answer later on Bloom.
The following portion of Bloom is sponsored by Tampa Bay WaterWise.
Welcome back to Bloom. With money tight right now for many, there's a great way you can help your wallet by getting paid for saving water, all while helping the environment. Joining me now with more is Water Conservation Manager Amelia Brown with Tampa Bay Water. Amelia, welcome to Bloom. It's such a pleasure to have you.
Thank you for having me.
So talk me through where we use the most water in our home.
Yeah, you may find it surprising, but in a typical home, half or more of the water is used outside on the lawn. A single sprinkler system run can use 2,000 gallons of water, whereas that's enough water for a family of 2 for a whole month just for their indoor water usage.
Oh, wow. So how do we save money in that area?
In the Tampa Bay area, we have a rebate program that's called Tampa Bay WaterWise, where residents and business owners can get paid to save water, either through outdoor irrigation devices like a smart irrigation controller, which monitors the weather and then applies exactly the right amount of water, or through some of our indoor water saving rebates like toilets, which you can get a $40 to a $100 rebate for installing a WaterSense certified toilet.
That is really incredible. So we use a lot of water on the outside as compared to the inside, you say?
That's right. You know, we took a look at customers who participated in our program and used the Smart Irrigation Controller. And on average, in a year, they saved 60,000 gallons of water, which was worth $460 on their water bill. So they really saved big because those devices can reduce water use by about 30%.
And you say inside we're wasting a lot of water in our showers and our toilets. Tell me more about the smart sensor with the toilet.
Yeah, so if you get a WaterSense labeled toilet, that'll guarantee that it uses less water than a standard toilet, and it has an excellent performance as well because they are third-party rated. So we really highly recommend them, and they're very widely available in all the stores where you'd buy a toilet.
So who's eligible here in the Tampa Bay area?
Yeah, so you need to be a water utility customer of 3 counties and 3 cities: the county of Hillsborough, Pasco, and Pinellas, and the cities of Tampa, St. Petersburg, and Newport Richey.
With just some of the statistics that you've shared with us today, it seems like we really can save a lot of money.
Absolutely. Homeowners can save $460 or more on their outdoor water usage, perhaps up to $100 from changing out their old toilet to a new one. And I can certainly think of ways that I'd rather spend $100 than flushing the toilet every day.
Yeah, there's no doubt. And people are really incentivized. I understand this is catching on because it's so easy to save water, save money, and save the environment.
Absolutely. It's not only beneficial for the homeowner or the business owner, but it benefits the environment because every gallon of water we don't use in our homes and buildings is a gallon we can potentially leave in the natural environment, in the rivers and in the wetlands to support aquatic wildlife. And it's good for water utilities as well because it's less expensive to conserve the water than it is to build new water supplies. So it's very important for everyone to do their part to save water, whether they're using the Tampa Bay WaterWise rebate program or just simply turning off the faucet while they brush their teeth or turn off the sprinkler system when it rains.
All right, thanks so much, Amelia. And for more information and to see if you qualify and apply for those rebates, visit tampabaywaterwise.org. We'll be back with more Bloom right after this.
The preceding portion of Bloom was sponsored by Tampa Bay WaterWise.
It's time for today's Bloom trivia question. How many herbs fight inflammation and are part of a balanced diet? 5, 9, or 12? The answer is 9. According to Healthline, the herbs that fight inflammation are ginger, garlic, turmeric, cardamom, black pepper, ginseng, green tea, rosemary, and cinnamon. Those top the list, but there are many more. Well, thank you so much for tuning into Bloom today. You can catch Bloom anytime by following us on social media. We're on all major platforms, so get a behind-the-scenes look at all of the innovative breakthrough health and wellness conversations and incredible guests that we have right here on Bloom. And don't forget to check out our podcast, The Bloom Health Club. You can catch it live on Facebook and YouTube on Mondays at 2 p.m. We take a deep dive and have extended conversations with some of the top guests that we have right here on Bloom. You can watch our podcast anytime on YouTube or listen on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. Well, we hope you'll tune in again on the next Bloom presented by Lifeguard Imaging, the secret to sticking to healthy habits. We'll have top experts in to help you shape your goals. And top caterer and personal chef Deb Marie is getting us ready for the Kentucky Derby. So stay healthy, everyone, and I will see you on the next Bloom.
Content segments during Bloom were paid for by Tequila Comos and Tampa Bay WaterWise.
Call now 813-582-5222 to schedule your scan today.